Welcome back to Avery Knows Ball. I am so happy you're here. I have a lot that I want to share with you today. This channel, it is your one-stop shop for the nuanced, data-driven takes that are going to make you sound smarter at the bar and help you think differently and more deeply about the sport that we all know and love. Now, we saw the Lions this week and Dan Campbell emphatically putting the cherry on top of their win with the bravado of the fourth down conversion. And I want to explore the evolution of this tactic and the impact that it has on the team mentality, play creativity through downs 1 through 3, and the defensive preparation on the opposing side that this maneuver requires. So today, we are exploring one of the most interesting evolutions in NFL history: how fourth down conversions have gone from last resort to the ultimate statement of a team's identity. The fourth down, it's not just about desperation and a Hail Mary anymore. It's undergone a total rebrand, and it's fascinating. So the idea that I want to think about today is how analytics, bravado, and chaos turned fourth down attempts into the NFL's new brand identity for certain teams, changing not just who wins, but how we define a team's DNA, their swag, what they're made of, and what are the implications of that in itself. So first, we got to jump back in time a little bit to the beginning of the NFL, the league rules, and the player-coach mentality. Back in the day, punting wasn't just common, it was basically the doctrine. Even as formations evolved and the passing game took off, the fourth down going for it was still very rare. And it was associated with desperation. The very idea of risking a turnover on downs, especially early in the game or on your own half of the field, it just didn't fit right with the kind of stoic coaching culture that was of the yore then. So you have to think back to like legendary names like Lombardi, Landry, and Shula. They were masterminds, but their playbooks were filled with don't try to get cute on the fourth down. And even the 1970s Steel Curtain Steelers, as they were called, punted through the first hint of fourth down trouble. So there's a ton of risk aversity in history of the NFL teams here. So knowing that, then we fast forward a little bit more, slowly but surely, this revolution, if you will. It started quietly with a few sort of sporadic decisions and a new world of data that was unlocked. And Bill Belichick, he made headlines in 2009 by going for it on 4th and 2, deep in his own territory against Peyton Manning. At the time, fans went wild, and not in a good way. The numbers were clear. The math said go for it. Enter the era of win probability charts and next-gen stats, and suddenly teams are saying, oh, there's more expected value of the fourth and short. It's nearly a break even, actually, or even favorable. And it's favorable, especially when you factor in the game context, like field position, opponent strength, opposite players. Interesting, right? So between 2006 and 2021, data shows that teams have vastly underestimated the chances of a successful 4th and 5. Subjectively, people guess around 33%, but the true rate's closer to to 43% for evenly matched teams. So you do start to see bold coaches like Doug Peterson's Philly Special Eagles or the analytics-driven Browns, Lions, a little bit of the Bills, flipping the old narrative. So they're not gambling into the void. They're actually tilting the odds in their favor, which is fascinating to look deeper into. So Browns, Lions, a little bit of the Bills, flipping the old narrative. So they're not gambling into the void. They're actually tilting the odds in their favor, which is fascinating to look deeper into. So here's now where we talk about conversion culture becoming a brand. In 2025, some teams are marking fourth down aggression as their entire identity, and Dan Campbell and the Lions, of course, come top of mind for this, but the numbers to back this up are wild. Right to the Lions, let's think about them, who attempt fourth downs more than almost anybody, sometimes 4 or 5 times a game. Their mindset, every down is a money down. So even just as a fan, I mean, you and I, we can all see that their fourth down strategy, it's not just relegated to the field. It's become a thread of their culture that Dan Campbell created and nurtures and grows, and that's really respectable. And it's also kind of scary to opposing teams. He's branding this offense, to me, branding as aggressive, which certainly throws teams off their game at times. And there's always the possibility, though, that this tactic becomes a little trite. And some viewers have already kind of expressed that. They think so. It's becoming predictable. And I understand that. But there's something remarkable to me about a coach taking a somewhat untactical, basic football concept and making it the DNA of the fabric of a team. There has to be something to be said for the mental effect of being a player for a coach with that expectation. And that's sort of an invisible effect. But on the other hand, we know the Eagles. They have practically trademarked fourth and short with their tush pushes that the NFL is still allowing somehow. The Commanders are efficient in it, making 21 of 26 attempts, one of the best rates in history. But it's not just bravado. And this is where I love thinking about this. Teams embracing high conversion rates are scoring more, keeping drives alive, and giving their QBs and O-lines total confidence. These numbers are not just results, though. They signal to the locker room and to the fan bases, we're here. We trust our coach. We trust our process. And that is remarkable. So what we know and what we have the data to prove is that going for it on the fourth down influences the entire game plan. Teams playing fourth down offenses treat second and third down completely differently. You might see more runs, more creative play action, more willingness to take shots down the field, knowing that fourth down is live. It's in play. It's possible. Defenses have to guess more. They have to stretch their alignment. They really can't just sell out on the third down and phone it in. And meanwhile, successful conversions often demoralize the defense completely. I mean, as a fan, I feel it too, and they hype up the home crowd, shifting momentum even beyond just the numbers on the stat sheet. So a little proof of this that I found absolutely fascinating is teams with high fourth down aggression, they do see a bump in time of possession, obviously, and often they get that crucial edge late, either by keeping the ball away from the QBs or mounting a little bit of momentum for a comeback, just because they simply have more chances per drive. And nowadays, high fourth down rates are a selling point. Young, energetic coaches are certainly wearing it like a badge of honor. And players report that you feel the swag and the energy on the sideline. And when you get the ball in your hands more, you feel it. And it's tangible as a fan in the audience. And fantasy managers love it too. And even the old school fans are kind of converting and coming around with some franchises like, I don't know, the Eagles or the Chargers have really built a reputation as go-for-it teams. And that becomes a part of, like I said, the DNA, and that goes all the way to recruiting, free agency, and how the fan base emotionally experiences a game. And living and dying with each do-or-die play, fourth down football, it just becomes an intrinsic part of the brand base. So I don't know, you guys. I think it's fascinating to think about how much the evolution of this concept has become a brand identity and also not only a strategic tactic, but like a morale booster. And I really love that. The NFL to me has never felt more aggressive or more analytical, and that's the best part. I mean, winning teams have turned high conversion rates into a team ethos, like creating just a snowball of confidence and even a little bit of fear for the defenses looking at, a fourth and short. And it sort of spices things up, for lack of a better metaphor. So the next time that your team lines up for a fourth down conversion, remember, this is not just analytics. It's not just a gamble. It's not a desperate Hail Mary. It could be branding. It's culture. And it could be the key edge, certainly part of the key edge, that defines who's going to be lifting that Lombardi Trophy in Santa Clara, California in February. So I'm really glad that you guys could explore this evolution of the fourth down culture and execution with me. And I think that we're going to be seeing, obviously, a lot more of this with the Lions. And I think other teams are going to be catching on to the shift that this fourth down conversion go-for-it rate not only does numbers on the field, but it also creates a sort of morale amongst the team and the fan, and especially if you're playing at home. So there's something to be said for this, and this is an edge that we all should be looking out for and truly embracing on the offensive side of the field and preparing for on the defensive side of the field. So let's think about that this weekend. I cannot wait to watch alongside you guys this week. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I can't wait to talk to you about week 4. All right, bye.
Hey!